Power is not something handed to you. It's not something you wait for. It's something you take, something you claim, something you embody with every fiber of your being. The rarest women in the world understand this at their core. They don't seek approval. They don't wait for a nod of acceptance. They don't hesitate when the world tells them to slow down. Instead, they rise. They step into the room like they belong there, because they do. Power is an internal force, not an external gift. It doesn't come from a title, from money, from someone else's validation. It comes from knowing who you are and refusing to apologize for it. The rarest women know this. They don't play small to make others comfortable. They don't downplay their brilliance, their ambition, or their voice because it intimidates those who refuse to grow. They walk tall, they speak with conviction, and they take up space. Not because they are arrogant, but because they know they are worthy. From the time we are young, we are told to be nice, to be polite, to be accommodating, to make sure everyone around us is comfortable. But rare women understand something deeper. True power is not about pleasing others. It's about being true to yourself. It's about setting boundaries without guilt, about standing firm in what you believe, and about refusing to shrink in a world that tells you to be less. Owning your power is not just about confidence. Confidence can be faked. Confidence can be a mask. Power, real power, is unshakable. It's the ability to stand alone if you must. It's the willingness to say no when everything inside you is tempted to say yes, just to avoid disappointing someone else. It's the discipline to walk away from what no longer serves you, even if it's comfortable, even if it's familiar, even if it means stepping into the unknown. And let's be clear, owning your power doesn't mean you never doubt yourself. It doesn't mean you don't have fears, insecurities, or moments of hesitation. What it means is that you don't let those things control you. You feel the fear and move forward anyway. You hear the doubts, but refuse to let them dictate your actions. You recognize the discomfort of growth, but choose to grow regardless. The rarest women are the ones who understand that their voice matters. They don't stay silent when it's time to speak. They don't let fear keep them in the shadows. They don't allow the opinions of small-minded people to dictate how big they can dream. They own their presence. They own their perspective. They own their decisions. And most importantly, they own their right to be powerful. Owning your power is about making decisions that align with who you truly are, not who the world expects you to be. It's about choosing your own path, even when it's the road less traveled. It's about believing so fiercely in yourself that the world has no choice but to believe in you too. Not because you seek its approval, but because your energy, your presence, your conviction make it undeniable. The rarest women are not afraid of standing alone because they know that true power comes from within, not from the crowd. They don't need a room full of people cheering them on to feel worthy. They don't need applause to validate their existence. Their power comes from their certainty, the certainty that they are here for a reason, the certainty that they are enough, the certainty that they do not need to ask for permission to take what is already theirs. The world will test you, it will challenge you, it will push back the moment you decide to own your power. But rare women don't break under pressure. They don't retreat when things get hard. They don't abandon themselves for the sake of fitting in. Instead, they rise, they get stronger, they get bolder, they get louder, because they know that power is not something given. It's something you declare. It's something you embody. It's something you own, fully and unapologetically. From the moment we take our first steps in this world, we are surrounded by expectations. Expectations about who we should be, how we should act, what we should achieve, and where our limits lie. These expectations are often disguised as advice, as wisdom, as guidance. They come from parents, teachers, friends, colleagues, and even strangers who have no idea what we are capable of. But the rarest women in the world don't allow these expectations to define them. They defy them. They rewrite the rules. They refuse to let anyone else decide how far they can go or what they can accomplish. Limits are an illusion, a set of invisible lines drawn by those who are too afraid to step beyond them. Society has always tried to impose limits on women. You're too young, you're too old, you're too ambitious, you're too emotional, you're too aggressive. You should slow down, you should be careful, you should wait your turn. But rare women hear these words and recognize them for what they are: fear, projected by others who have never dared to test their own boundaries. The rarest women don't just break limits, they make it their mission to destroy them. They refuse to let outdated ideas about gender, success, or capability hold them back. When someone tells them they can't, they don't argue, they don't waste energy trying to convince the doubters. They simply show them. They get to work. They push past the barriers not for validation, but because they refuse to accept a world where they are anything less than unstoppable. Defying limits isn't about recklessness. It's about courage. It's about looking at the rules that were never made for you in the first place and deciding you don't have to follow them. It's about walking into spaces where you were never invited and taking a seat at the table without waiting for permission. It's about daring to believe that the dreams inside you exist for a reason, and that the only person who can make them real is you. The rarest women have heard it all before. That's impossible. No one has done that before. Women don't belong in that industry. That's not the way things work. But instead of accepting these statements as truth, they ask the most powerful question of all. Why not? Why not be the first? Why not prove them wrong? Why not rewrite the narrative? History is written by the women who refused to listen to the voices that said, stay in your lane. The women who saw walls and decided to go through them. The women who knew that discomfort is the price of growth, and who were willing to be uncomfortable, misunderstood, and even criticized in order to reach their highest potential. Defying limits doesn't mean you won't face resistance. It doesn't mean you won't have moments of doubt. It doesn't mean the path will be easy. In fact, the moment you decide to push beyond the limits imposed on you, that's when the challenges begin. People will question you. They will try to discourage you. They will make you feel like you are asking for too much, reaching too high, wanting too big. But the rarest women know something that the average person doesn't. Limits only exist for those who believe in them. They understand that failure is not a stop sign, it's a stepping stone. They don't fear rejection because they know rejection is simply redirect. They don't let setbacks define them because they understand that every great achievement was once considered impossible until someone made it happen. Think about the women who have changed history, who have redefined what is possible. The pioneers, the revolutionaries, the innovators, none of them were handed a roadmap. None of them were given an easy path. They faced opposition, criticism, and resistance at every turn, but they kept going. They weren't fearless. They just didn't let fear stop them. And that is what it means to defy limits. It's about choosing growth over comfort, vision over doubt, and action over hesitation. It's about understanding that the world will always try to put boundaries around you, but that doesn't mean you have to stay inside them. It's about stepping into your power so fully that limits become irrelevant. Pain is inevitable. Every single person in this world will face struggle, heartbreak, disappointment, and failure. But what separates the rarest women in the world from the rest is what they do with that pain. They don't let it break them. They don't let it define them. They take every ounce of suffering, every hardship, every moment of doubt, and they turn it into fuel. They turn it into something greater than themselves. They turn it into power. Pain can do one of two things. It can keep you trapped, stuck in a cycle of resentment, regret, and victimhood, or it can ignite a fire so powerful that nothing can extinguish it. The rarest women understand this choice. They know that while they can't always control what happens to them, they can always control how they respond. They refuse to let their past dictate their future. They refuse to let their wounds turn into lifelong scars that hold them back. Instead, they use those wounds as proof of their strength, as a reminder of everything they have survived, as evidence that they are capable of enduring and overcoming anything. Turning pain into power doesn't mean pretending the pain didn't happen. It doesn't mean suppressing emotions or ignoring the reality of struggle. It means facing it, owning it, and deciding that it will not have the final say. It means looking at the hardest moments of your life and saying, this is not the end of my story. It means refusing to be bitter and choosing to be better. Every woman who has ever changed the world has been tested. Every woman who has ever risen to greatness has faced opposition. Every woman who has ever built something extraordinary has had moments when she wanted to give up. But they didn't. Not because they weren't hurt, not because they weren't exhausted, not because they didn't feel the weight of the struggle, but because they decided that their pain would not be wasted. The rarest women don't just survive hardship, they use it. They take their losses and turn them into lessons. They take their heartbreak and turn it into healing. They take their failures and turn them into comebacks. They understand that adversity is not an obstacle, it's a training ground. Every setback, every rejection, every betrayal is molding them into something stronger, sharper, more unstoppable. There is a fire that burns inside every woman who has ever been told she wasn't enough. A fire that grows every time she is underestimated, overlooked, or dismissed. A fire that refuses to be extinguished, no matter how many times life tries to put it out. And the rarest women don't fear this fire. They embrace it. They use it. They let it push them forward. Pain introduces you to parts of yourself that comfort never will. It reveals your resilience. It forces you to dig deeper than you ever thought possible. It pushes you beyond your limits and shows you that you are capable of far more than you ever imagined. The rarest women don't just endure pain, they allow it to refine them. They allow it to carve out the strongest, most unshakable version of themselves. Think about the moments in your life that hurt the most, the betrayals, the disappointments, the losses. Now ask yourself, what did they teach you? How did they shape you? What strength did they awaken in you that you didn't even know you had? That's the gift hidden inside pain. It strips away the illusions, the masks, the fears, and it leaves behind something real, something unbreakable. The rarest women don't just accept pain as part of life, they transform it into purpose. They take the things that were meant to destroy them and use them to build something greater. They don't just carry their scars, they wear them like armor, because they know that every battle they've fought has prepared them for the victories ahead. The rarest women in the world don't just live for themselves. They don't just chase success, wealth, or recognition for personal gain. They understand something far greater. Real power is not in what you achieve, but in what you leave behind. It's in the impact you create. It's in the lives you touch. It's in the footprints you leave so deeply imprinted in this world that they continue to guide others long after you're gone. Legacy isn't about money. It isn't about status. It isn't about a name written in history books. Legacy is about influence. It's about making a difference in ways that can't always be measured. The rarest women know that true success is not just about climbing to the top. It's about bringing others with you. It's about lifting people up, about showing others what's possible, about being a force so strong that your presence changes the course of lives. But here's the truth. Legacy isn't built by accident. It isn't something that happens someday in the distant future. It's something you create in every moment, in every decision, in every action. It's in the way you show up. It's in the way you treat people. It's in the risks you take, the kindness you extend, the battles you fight, and the courage you display. The rarest women understand that legacy is not something you wait to leave behind. It's something you build every single day. There are two kinds of people in this world, those who take and those who give. The ones who live only for themselves, accumulating as much as they can, hoarding knowledge, opportunities, and resources. And then there are the rare women, the ones who know that power is multiplied when it is shared. The ones who teach, who guide, who mentor, who create spaces where others can rise. The ones who know that true greatness is not just about personal achievement. It's about creating a ripple effect that outlives you. The rarest women don't just dream about change, they become it. They refuse to settle for the world as it is because they know it can be better. They don't just accept injustice, inequality, or limitation as the status quo. They challenge it. They rewrite the rules. They pave the way for the next generation. And they do it not for recognition, but because they know that their purpose is bigger than themselves. Legacy is not about perfection. It's not about waiting until you have all the answers or until you reach some imaginary finish line. It's about action. It's about courage. It's about deciding that your life will not be ordinary, that your existence will not be unnoticed, that the mark you leave on this world will be undeniable. The rarest women don't seek to be remembered for who they were. They seek to be remembered for what they did, who they inspired, and how they made others believe in their own power.